Please be seated. Good afternoon. Assembled graduating students, fellow faculty, and proud families, welcome to the 2023 commencement ceremony of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Commencement exercises are a time-honored tradition at UVM, a tradition that dates back well over 2 centuries. Graduates, your hard work, your intellect, the support of your families and friends, and your commitment to your education have culminated in this wonderful day. As you prepare to join the ranks of UVM alumni, take a moment to reflect on the journey to this momentous occasion. This day, the day of your graduation from the University of Vermont. As the head faculty marshal of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, I now declare open these proceedings. Please join me in welcoming to the podium the Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, Dr. Noma Anderson.
What a glorious day. We're so happy. It's been a long day, but a joyful day. We were on the green this morning for a glorious ceremony, and I won't ask if you remember what Vermont stands for. You passed that test earlier today. I'm Noma Anderson, Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Welcome to our 2023 celebration. Graduates, your family and friends are so proud of you and excited for you. By being a student at UVM, you have been educated by top scholars in healthcare. These scholars, the faculty and staff in the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, are also proud of you and excited for you. Today, 239 new healthcare professionals are graduating from UVM's College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Within weeks of departing from this commencement or celebration ceremony, you will be a graduate student or an exercise scientist, a speech-language pathologist, a medical laboratory scientist, a nurse, or a physical therapist, a medical radiation therapist, or a health and wellness coach. Dear audience, I would like to introduce you to 7 of our newest graduates. Anya? Is Anya in the house? Anya, let's learn a little bit about you and then 2 other classmates. Where are you from?
Norwood, Massachusetts. Yeah.
And what was your major?
Nursing. Yeah.
Why did you select nursing?
Because I thought I wanted to be a social worker or a teacher or a doctor, and doctors go to too much school, so I decided nursing was the middle ground.
Well, what are your plans following graduation?
I will be starting as a staff RN on inpatient psych at UVM Medical Center.
At UVM, what has been most meaningful for you?
For sure, 1,000% my friends.
Wonderful answer.
Thanks.
What advice would you give to students entering the college or the university in August?
As much as you want it to, caffeine cannot replace sleep, so 8 hours is a good idea.
Thank you, Anya. Congratulations. Is Shauna Hoy in the house? Shauna?
Hi.
Hi, Shauna. And where are you from?
I'm from Fremont, California.
And what was your major?
I majored in health sciences.
Great. And why did you select health sciences?
I was interested in public health and I want to pursue a career in the medical field.
Great choice. And what are your plans following graduation?
I will be attending the University of Washington to get my Master's of Science in Epidemiology.
Outstanding. Outstanding. What at UVM has been most meaningful for you?
I think also my friends and the connections I've made here.
Wonderful. And what advice would you give to students entering the college in UVM in August?
I think don't be afraid to try new things. You won't be good at everything and you might fail, but that's how you learn and grow.
Shauna, thank you. Thank you. Is Amanda Creedler in the house? Amanda, thank you. Where are you from?
I'm from Montvale, New Jersey.
And what was your major?
My major was exercise science.
Great choice. And why did you select exercise science?
I selected exercise science because I want to go on to be a physical therapist, and it seemed like a good path to take.
Wonderful. So what are your plans following graduation?
I will be attending Northeastern University to get my doctorate of physical therapy.
Congratulations. What has been most meaningful studying at UVM for you?
Definitely all of the people that I've met along the way and how much the faculty really care about you and want you to succeed here.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And what advice would you give students that are entering the college and the university in August?
I would recommend that people go out and explore the area as much as possible. There's so much in Burlington and the surrounding area, Canada, all of that. So go do new things and try new things.
Great advice. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anya and Shauna and Amanda. To the class of 2023, I say, begin this new chapter of your life with confidence, with compassion, with caring, with cultural humility, with a commitment to ethical practice and lifelong learning. Be committed to reaching across the divide of health inequity, whether that divide be economic, gender, disability, or education. Reach across that divide, which can be geographic, ethnic, racial, gender expression, sexual orientation, or age. I ask you to engage with your patients, their families, your colleagues, your neighbor, with a lens that allows for social justice and the sense of humanity for all. I end my talk every year with this. Many of us grew up hearing the golden rule: do unto others as you want them to do unto you. As healthcare providers, follow the platinum rule: treat others as they want to be treated. Class of 2023, congratulations, good luck, and Godspeed. I promised that you would hear from 7 students, so here are the next 4. So I would like to invite these 4 outstanding students up on the stage: Claire Dougherty, Taylor Dazel, Madeline Wilson, and Frances O'Donnell.
Hi, and thank you all for coming, and congratulations to the graduates here. I am Claire Doherty, and today I'll be graduating with a degree in medical laboratory science. Medical laboratory science is part of the Department of Biomedical and health sciences and is commonly referred to as the unknown health profession. I first discovered this field completely by chance during my college search. I knew I wanted to enter the healthcare system, but wasn't sure which role would suit me best. After very little research, I ultimately settled on MedLab due to my love for science, my dislike for people, and of course, job security. The first week of college, I got an email from my link, which for those of you who don't know, is an upperclassman in your program who takes you under their wing to help you acclimate to the new environment, new people, and of course, the new academic demand. Well, all I remember from that first meeting was my link immediately showing us where the Dana Medical Library was. And as a group of first-year college students, we kind of looked around confused why we would ever need to know where the library was. Much like most UVM students, we were there to ski, hike, and experience New England. Little did I know I'd be spending copious amounts of time there in just a few weeks. We all had a unique college experience. A pandemic began when we were only first years, causing everything to switch on not only us, but our professors too. As a college student, everything changed. Making friends in the dining halls, classes, or Zoom turned into seeing each other only through across from the Redstone Green. Medical laboratory science students were some of the luckier ones. At least we had labs in person once a week, so we weren't completely isolated from the world. We all chose to enter into healthcare knowing what the schooling entailed. But our education doesn't end here. As we enter our careers, we will encounter new challenges much like the pandemic, and we will take them on and continue to learn and adapt. We will need to stay up to date with continuing education and advancing technology as we grow in our respective fields. Many of you are sitting there terrified of where you'll be in a few months, myself included. However, UVM provided us with all the required skills to accomplish our goals and be successful in the real world. Last year, I found out I'd be spending my final semester of school living in Boston and interning at Mass General Hospital. I'd never really been to Boston, let alone thought about moving there, so I was scared. I was scared to move away from Vermont, and I was scared I was leaving my college experience behind me. Turns out it was not the end. It was a chance to have new experiences in a new city, with new friends, and discover all sorts of new passions. Our futures work the same way. So as you move forward in not only your careers, but your life, I encourage you to stay curious, continue to learn, and embrace this next chapter with courage and optimism. Remember that you have the potential to make a real difference in the lives of others, and once again, congratulations on your graduation, and best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, friends and family of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences graduating class. My name is Taylor Delzell. Before beginning, I want to thank our Dean, Noma Anderson, and the College of Nursing and Health Sciences and the Communication Sciences and Disorders Department. It's an honor to stand up here to speak today. I want to congratulate this graduating class and the faculty in every department. We had some obstacles thrown at us these past 4 years, but we made it. We cannot forget to congratulate our friends and family as they've made it through these times with us. They have answered the FaceTime calls at the most inconvenient times, consisting of tears, laughs, and smiles. I want to thank my family for their support, but also apologize because I always choose the worst time to call you guys. The individuals in our lives deserve a big round of applause. Our advisors, mentors, professors, coaches, family, and friends, because these foundational support systems played a crucial part in who we are and where we are today. I transferred to the University of Vermont my sophomore year to study communication sciences disorders. That year was somewhat of a transitional COVID year. Many students remained home, and I was meeting my professors and classmates through Zoom. Despite this unexpected change, I knew I did not want to let this stop me from experiencing all that the University of Vermont has to offer. There was a time my junior year, I went to my advisor and now lifelong mentor, Dr. Elizabeth Adams, because I was going through the quarter-life crisis, which she comforted me by telling me that many students feel like they go through. During that time, I asked her, how do I get more involved within the program? It felt like a silly question, and I had thought to Google it, but without hesitation, she opened new windows of opportunity for me. I'm beyond grateful for those opportunities, as they have solidified that I will be continuing my studies in the field of audiology. Dr. Adams, I cannot thank you enough for being the person I would and will continue to turn towards for direction and inspiration. The communication Sciences and Disorders faculty has changed the trajectory of my life. Professor Wahlberg, wherever you are, I think she's out there, you've never failed to put a smile on my face, and I know the faces of many others. Dr. Velman, I've never been so motivated after witnessing the passion you have for the field of speech pathology. Although clinical phonetics was not my strong suit, you sat with any student who needed additional support despite your very, very busy schedule. I want to wish you the best of luck in your retirement. I know my classmates graduating alongside me today have built similar relationships where they've been inspired, motivated, and empowered by individuals within their given departments. The faculty and staff go above and beyond their job title to make sure we succeed inside and outside of the classroom, and success is a relative term. That is, it's an aspect of our personal values. Again, I want to take a moment to thank and applaud the faculty and staff for guiding our passions within our department. CSD, I don't know where everyone is. Well, they're in front. We could not have made it here without each other. Our CSD class is a smaller group of students, as you'll see when we walk across. This means we all have gotten to know each other pretty well through cram study sessions, days spent in Pomeroy Hall, to basically running every club as a collaborative board. My classmates have excelled outside the classroom, earning speech-language pathologist assistant certificates, applying to jobs, applying to grad school, volunteering, observing in the clinic, the list goes on, all while simultaneously managing coursework. I feel we've all made a mark on this program, and the program has definitely made a mark on us. This graduating CNHS class will be the backbone of the healthcare field, and I'm proud to be surrounded by each and every one of them, especially because they have endured the long days spent in the brick building row over these last 4 years. Although we will be parting our separate ways, I'm very excited to see everyone's next adventure, even if it is through social media. Trust me when I say I will be expecting updates post-grad. To conclude, the University of Vermont has provided us the people, opportunity, and experience to achieve any goal we set for ourselves. Before we walk out of this arena today and start taking pictures, I hope you take a second to soak in this moment, because the journey we've had here is what makes today so special. On behalf of the Communication Sciences and Disorders Department, congratulations to this graduating class of 2023.
Good afternoon to faculty, staff, families, friends, and my fellow graduates. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Maddie Wilson. It is an honor for me to stand up here today and speak to you all on behalf of my fellow nursing classmates. I'm still in a bit of disbelief that we have finally made it to the end. Those hours and hours and hours spent sitting in class in the windowless Rowell 103 have finally paid off. We've all worked incredibly hard to get where we are today, and I know that each and every one of us is going to go out into the world, wherever that may be, and become truly amazing nurses. The first thing I would like to say is a tremendous thank you to everyone who has helped get us here today. First, thank you to the nursing faculty. You have bestowed so much of your nursing knowledge upon us and instilled in each of us a love and excitement for the nursing profession. Another thank you to our TAs, our clinical instructors, the nurses at the UVM Medical Center, and throughout the community who have taken us students under their wings during our clinical rotations. Finally, a big thank you to all of the friends and family who have given us strength, encouragement, and support as we've worked through these past 4 years. We wouldn't be here without any of you. When I was asked to say a few words about our nursing class, I felt honored but also humbled, because how do I begin to describe this incredible group of people? The first word that came to my mind is tough. We are people who have studied hours upon hours for that patho or pharm or whatever exam it was, because there were so many, only to get up at 6 a.m. the following morning, walk up the hill when the temperature was probably somewhere in the negatives to get to clinical on time. These are people who work jobs, who volunteer, tutor, have minors, play sports, and are involved on campus, who sometimes barely manage to catch their breath during the day before approaching the looming mountain of homework we have waiting at home. And not to mention, doing all of this in the middle of a pandemic. Like I said, tough. The second word that comes to mind when thinking about our nursing class is actually discontent. I can see before me the people who have been unafraid to speak up in class and discuss issues facing nursing and healthcare today. Why do we see discrepancies in healthcare outcomes? Why are so many nurses getting burnt out? Why can no one afford their healthcare anymore? As students at UVM, we have not only developed technical nursing skills, but developed skills in critical thinking, leadership, and advocacy. I'm proud to be a part of this group because we have been challenged to get out there and make the changes that we want to see. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about compassion. Yes, we might have been just students, but the care that I've watched my classmates give during clinicals has been nothing short of extraordinary. Taking extra time to sit with patients, hold their hands, answer their questions, offer support, and make those genuine connections that we know lead to better healthcare outcomes. These things that oftentimes can't be taught, but rather that someone who is meant to be a nurse has had inside them all along. Last but not least, I want to talk about friendship. We started this journey as strangers. Then we started having classes together, became lab partners, practiced those super awkward head-to-toe assessments on each other. Then we entered clinicals, which really can be quite intimidating, but honestly, thank goodness we had each other. If I ever had a question, needed help with a patient, or even just needed someone to talk to, I could turn to any single one of my clinical partners and they would always be there, eager to help. And so, somewhere along this crazy journey, we all became friends. Maybe even found some best friends, if you're as lucky as I am. UVM Nursing, class of 2023. We have all done what I'm sure, at one point or another, seemed like the impossible. We conquered nursing school with excitement, empowerment, and grace. And we're finally done. I'm grateful for this journey and for all of you. All I have left to say is thank you so much.
To my peers, faculty, friends, family, and loved ones, thank you for being here today to celebrate our accomplishments while at UVM. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Frances O'Donnell, and I'm a proud exercise science student, and I'm honored to be standing before you all today. I am not here solely for my individual accomplishments, but rather for all of our accomplishments. I'm so happy to be here as a classmate, a friend, a person who's spoken too loudly in class a few too many times, and somebody who is incredibly grateful to have gone through the past 4 years surrounded by such phenomenal people. People who have inspired me daily, both faculty and peers, who continue to motivate and support me every single day. What has been so special about exercise science and CNHS as a whole is the wealth of opportunities we have been able to experience during our time as undergraduates. For me, that has looked like playing on the women's soccer team here, adding minors in nutrition and integrative health and wellness coaching, and working under encouraging and distinguished faculty in the Osher Center for Integrative Health. For others in our major, that has looked like so many different things, and I'm constantly in awe of my peers' achievements. Some have completed EMT training and volunteer for local rescue teams. Some compete in athletics or lead club sports teams. Some have conducted their own research. Some have worked as personal trainers and group fitness instructors. Some have interned with local PT and OT clinics, and this is truly just the beginning of the list. We are so lucky to have been provided with opportunities to learn and grow through hands-on experiences both inside and outside of the classroom. I often think back to our freshman year when we first arrived on campus. We hardly spoke to each other, no one raised their hands in classes, and there was no sense of connection. Fast forward to today, things couldn't possibly look more different. Whether it was making up for the lost time of Zoom University or just generally growing up together, we have built an unbelievably tight-knit community that I will forever be grateful for. Our major may be small, but we are connected to each other in so many ways now. This past spring break, I had the opportunity to visit Portugal and learn that 2 other exercise science classmates were going there as well, but staying in a town more than 3 hours away by train, so we made no plans to meet up. To my complete surprise, I looked up in a bookstore, and there they were, coming down a spiral staircase. It was just a single chance meeting, but it got me thinking about the ways that we will be forever united by this shared experience, even as we begin to scatter from Burlington following our own unique paths. My hope is that throughout our lives, we will continue to intersect with one another, no matter where that may be. What truly connects this program, though, is the faculty. I remember back in high school being warned how harsh and demanding college professors would be, and fearing that I would struggle to make connections. I would never have imagined that now, some of the most trustworthy and caring adults in my life would be the entirety of the department faculty. As fast as our time here has flown, it has also been full of difficult and challenging times for us all. From personally missing flights back to breaks, dealing with long-term sports injuries, loved ones going through mental health crises, family medical emergencies, relationship troubles, and more, they have always been there for me. Imagine how much these professors have had to show up for all 50 plus of us in each of our chaotic lives. Sorry about my substantial part in that. You have a very tough job. Feeling unconditionally supported by this faculty has given me and my peers such a sense of belonging and security, and these are connections that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. Thank you for being far more than just professors to us all. UVM and CNHS has provided us with such a strong foundation to stand on as we venture into our next chapters. Whether that be graduate school, a job, a gap year, or not quite sure, I hope we can all appreciate and celebrate our time here together. I can't wait to see what we all will accomplish. Thank you all, and congratulations. Go Cats. I would now like to ask Dean Anderson to come back to the podium.
Thank you so much, Anya and Shauna, Amanda, Claire, Taylor, Madeline, and Frances. Outstanding. Before we begin the presentation of diplomas, we will be honoring 2 students who received posthumous degrees at the morning commencement degree conferral. Cody Ray Surprise is remembered by his family and friends for his sense of adventure. His curiosity and desire to explore were present in every aspect of his life, including academics. He took classes in political science, history, and the Russian language before finding his home in the exercise science major. We are so grateful for the time he spent as part of our community and will cherish our memories of his contagious laughter, kindness, and the joy he always brought into the classroom. I would like to invite Cody's mother, Jessica Swart, to the stage to receive his diploma. Maisie Talbert was a student leader in the health sciences major who always had time to help others. She is remembered for the dedication she brought as a teaching assistant, where she inspired her peers with her sincere passion for bringing justice and equity into all health professions. Maisie was a kind, patient, and loving person who sought to uplift others. Her warm presence is greatly missed by everyone who knew her. But we know that the influence she had on our community is unfading. I would like to invite Maisie's mother, Amy Anderson, and her father, Matt Talbot, to the stage to receive her diploma. Students, are you ready? I know you're not saying for what. You are about to receive the recognition for which you have worked so hard for and join the proud ranks of UVM alumni. I would like to welcome Provost Patty Prelock to the podium to help me give out your diplomas. Dr. Prelock is Provost and Senior Vice President, and also Professor in the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders. She is truly a member of this family of our, where are we? College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Patty was formerly Dean of the College and Department Chair of Communication Sciences and Disorders. Patty, come and join us. Graduates, please stand. Tammy, it's your turn now, right? Okay. Hold on one second. I think I did this prematurely, but let me check. Okay. I was right.
You got this.
I got this. Please turn your tassels from the right side of your mortarboards to the left. For the second time. It is with great admiration and pride that I look upon you now as graduates and alumni of the University of Vermont and the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. So we can clap again.
Receiving the Bachelor of Science in Communication Sciences and Disorders, Lauren Blake Belartion. Megan Sky Cheney. Emily Collins. Colleen Connor. Taylor Delzell. Sierra Grace Doobie. Cassandra Dykstra. Jillian Louise Flint. Jenna Lorraine Hallstrom. Lauren C. Hempel, Honors College. Alexa Marian Hulls, cum laude. Caitlin Lothar. Claire Therese Moxley. Caitlin Sarah Pegnam. Emma Peterson. Courtney Ray Simpson. Jessica Rhoda Tarnoff. Sydney Avis Tart. Caitlin Bade Vogan. Receiving the Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science, Zensha Mary Margaret Baker Dunn. Sophia Beckley. Cole Davis Bellevue. London C. Bremmel. Sophia Brinkerhoff. Laurel Capuzzi, cum laude. Kristen A. Clark. Reese Eldon Curley. Yonatan Ephraim Elligberg. Mary Frances Itori. Gabriela Ferreira. Samantha Gill Owen. Griffin H. Gord. Grace Goodyear Gruber. Elizabeth Hartog. Julia Diane Healy. Craig Hownam. Mackenzie Kate Johnston. Ryan Jones. Connor L. Kelly. Erin Rose Kelly, cum laude. Maria Catherine Kelly. Amanda Krindler. Julia Grace Kropanicki, magna cum laude. Evan F. Lamoth. Madison Laney Larson. Jacqueline Marie Leo. Annika Ligon, magna cum laude. Emma Ekaterina Mancini. Connor R. McClure, summa cum laude. Devin D. Mulak. Connor Munns. Ethan Knott. Frances Beverly O'Donnell. Ryan Paiva. Jacqueline Marie Palazza, Honors College, summa cum laude. Jacob Allen Pierce. Danielle Nicole Pollard. Christine Potter. Nathaniel Matthew Prego. Ren Martin Pyle. Aiden George Shutt. Shane Michael Seals. Alexander James Smith. Jacob T. Steinfeld. Justin M. Sweeney, cum laude. Ava Vassell. Madeline Strong Wood. Tracy A. Wood. Taylor Marie Yanchuk. Receiving the Bachelor of Science in Health Sciences, Camille Ann Argenteri. Laura Grace Blackburn. Rebecca Louise Brady. Ayla Brooke Burkett. Geneva Cody, Honors College. Sarah Croser. Claire Elizabeth Curry. Eni Evgeny Dacey. Krista DeMichaelis. Chloe Elizabeth DeRasha, cum laude. Mackenzie E. Detch. Grace Alexandra Donovan. Devin C. Eberts. Danielle Leah Flashman. Molly A. Gaborio. Sadie Lovett Gaffin. Sophie Gallagher. Evelyn Rose Gertie. Alexandria Grace Karen Gray. Cassandra Eva Greenwood. Christine Catherine Greenwood. Jacqueline Ticknor Hancock, cum laude. Wade J. Hirschbuhl. Molly Ann Hood. Shauna Mika Hoy. Riley Callis. Shahed Ahmad Kudir. Julia Melanie Kibrick. Tanner Patrick King. Shelby Nicole Lang. David Lowett. Sophie Markowski. Remy Normand, Honors College, cum laude. Rachel Olshansky. Abigail Elizabeth Palazza, Honors College, summa cum laude. Kylie Elizabeth Patrick. Eliza Brooks Patterson. Lauren Taylor Pelletier. Julia Pensick. Elijah Verkusen. Story H. Reynolds. Kylie Michelle Robles. Louis Sargent. Catherine Ruth Sins. Lydia Dara Steigers, Honors College. Madeline Rose Tobkin. Emma Rose Vanacore. Laura Julia Weisberg. Kristen Morgan Whitney. Lauren Marie Zeneker, summa cum laude. Receiving the Bachelor of Science in Medical Laboratory Sciences, Ashley E. Blaze. Savannah Rain Butch. Alora Mackenzie Cameron. Amanda Lee Charlwood. Wing Yin Elizabeth Chung, Honors College. Claire Doherty. Madeline Marie Eddy. Veronica Tesla Fazar. Tammy Pham Lau. Hannah Marshburn. Alina Rose Parsons. Elizabeth Root. Race T. Rookie. Garrett Martin Saffron. Receiving the Bachelor of Science in Medical Radiation Sciences, Maya M. Doherty. Melissa J. Edney. Lauren Renee Gandon. Sasha Marie Morden. Caitlin Phelps. Jasmine Samantha Smith. Alyssa Kelly White. Receiving the Bachelor of Science in Professional Nursing, Pascal Allen, cum laude. Jazza DeYoung Amchok. Chastity Arredondo. Brianna Beauchamp. Maya Grace Benson Marin. Abigail Grace Berard. Jake Emmanuel Berkowitz. Morgan Claire Blaine. Alexandra Block, cum laude. Anya Bodenhofer. Jenna Rose Bross. Kate Brulette. Lily Catherine Bulger. Anna Mikhail Bushnell. Megan Marietta Canali. Julia Rose Carboni. Caitlin Cheka. Grace E. Clay. Kylie Ann Como. Molly Elizabeth Conklin, summa cum laude. Guinevere Victoria Cooper. Abigail Rosella Coughlin. Sarah Marguerite Coulter, cum laude. Selah Faith Cronin. Hannah May Crosby. Sadie Catherine DeAmbrose. Emma Catherine DeBoll, magna cum laude. Emily B. DeGennaro. Catherine Mary DeMilt. Liliana Elizabeth DeBello. Samantha M. Dignan. Hannah Rose Ducharme. Sophie Cece Airbar, cum laude. Alyssa Jane Ellis. Joanna Nora Ongish. Riley Kate Finnegan. Sarah Jane Foley. Jackson Colin Garrow. Megan E. Gilwee. Lauren Goulet. Mia Rita Miriam Gidry. Heather Marie Gilbo. Megan N. Hamill, cum laude. Ella Hammis. Emily Aurora Hepburn. Brooke A. Hudja. Eliza Howard. Hannah Grace Herchebes. Samantha Johnson. Charlotte Jane Cofton Luckerman. Ava Kiefaber. Hannah Margaret Kimball. Marguerite Francis Cook. Justine Ann Coral. Elsa Jameson Laureate. Margaret Lee. Isabel Faustina Levine, cum laude. Katrina Faith Loopy. Carolyn Ann Mahoney. Megan Rose Marinin, cum laude. Maggie Elizabeth McGlynn. Alexandra Lauren McGrath, magna cum laude. Aubrey Ray McKenna. Anna Rose McPherson. John Michael Mendelis II. Gibson D. Moffitt. Shelby Annette Morin. Justin Michael Morse. Grace Emily Murphy. Kaylin Nicole O'Brien. Bridget O'Connor, cum laude. Elizabeth Ostep. Sophia Page. Erin Marie Palmer. Caroline Emily Patu. Zoe E. Purse. Olivia May Percy. Grace Piselli. Eva Marie Phillips. Leah Shoshana Pickles, cum laude. Genevieve Prefontaine. Jenna Rose Ravenetti. Madeline R. Reimer. Morgan Nicole Rogers. Sabrina Lynn Romano, cum laude. Lily Catherine Ryan. Lily Catherine Sansons. Margot Simone Schaller. Carson Leah Shermer. Ayla Jean Schumann. Madeline Lynn Shaw. Jacob Smith. Margot Rose Smith. Rachel Maddox Smith. August Noel Spaniola Chawla. Erin Rose Starr. Kristen Julia Strout. Josephine A. Stucker. Jacob Vipin Torres. Kelsey True. Kayla Turgan. Haley Donovan Valeriano. Catherine Bernadette Ware. Adam James Weiss. Ashley Elizabeth Weisalis. Molly Elizabeth Williams. Madeline Wilson, cum laude. Kaylee J. York, magna cum laude.
As we are nearing the end of our celebration, we're not there yet, but I want to just pause for a moment to thank you for your presence and your enthusiasm. I want to thank the faculty for being here. It means a great deal. The students and the graduates for being here. It means a great deal. And this would not be possible without friends and family. You all mean a great deal to us. Thank you. There's someone very special who has been participating in our celebration ceremonies that I would like to tell you a little bit about, and that's Shelley Velleman. Shelley has served as faculty marshal, leading us in, and she will be recessing us, so listen to every word she says. Shelley is Professor of Communication Sciences and Disorders, Emerita. Shelley, you have been a treasured member of the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders for 12 years. You joined the University of Vermont in 2011 as full professor and department chair. You have received the university awards in recognition of your excellence in teaching and research. You have been recognized as a fellow of the American Speech Language Hearing Association and a distinguished scholar and fellow in speech-language pathology. Your scholarly contributions have resulted in numerous peer-reviewed publications in top journals, over a dozen book chapters, and 5 books. You are an internationally renowned scientist and expert in speech sound disorders. You have extensively mentored students and junior faculty to support the next generation of researchers and teacher scholars. You are recognized by your colleagues as engaged, compassionate, and thoughtful in your service to the department, your university, and your chosen profession. Shelley is retiring, and this will be her last celebration ceremony with us. And I want to thank her for her service to the university, her service to the department, and as a fellow speech-language pathologist, her service to the profession. And now Shelley will resume her duties as marshal.
Thank you very much. I have to say, coming to the University of Vermont was one of the very best choices I made in my life, and I hope, and I think many of you agree. So, okay, so the platform party and the faculty are about to recess. We ask the students and the families and friends to please stay seated while we recess, and then go for it. The students don't need to recess formally. And please do, though, join us at the Davis Center for a reception to continue our celebration. So, as head marshal of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, I now declare these commencement proceedings closed. Woohoo!